That was very moving on, thank you. Our final speaker, the Reverend Nyiri, has been updated the stage, bringing us full circle with last reflections. She serves as the General Manager of the Living Waters Association, Ohio Northeast United Church of Christ, an association of 143 UCC congregations. She is an Armenian Christian born and raised in Aleppo, Syria. Nyiri graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from a seminary university in Beirut, Lebanon, and with a Master of Divinity degree from Lancaster Theological Seminary. Since her ordination in 1985, she has served UCC congregations in Pennsylvania and Tennessee, Connecticut and Wisconsin, Chicago and Houston, St. Louis and Colorado Springs, both as a settled and transitional pastor.
Thank you. It is good to be here and so wonderful to hear the powerful words from every speaker. And I also know the powerful words reside in every person around here. I wasn't exactly sure why I was invited for this, but I think part of it, I was invited because I know them. So I was born in Syria. I graduated from high school there. And I am an Armenian ethnicity, which means that I come from people that were massacred and genocided, and in 1915 by the Ottoman, as the Ottoman Empire was flailing. And so my grandparents ended up in Syria. And so I was born in exile. And that means that land has a very different and special meaning for me because my home is nowhere and my home is everywhere. And the genocide really, once you are a genocidal people, it's in your body. You have the DNA for that. And it is continually disturbing to live in a world where genocide continues to happen. And I want to ditto every word that every speaker said, especially the one who talked about colonization. I don't know how the world has continued or has survived with this kind of living. Because there's always a people who is being oppressed, subjugated, humiliated, genocided. And it is very difficult to grasp it when it's happening in my lifetime. So my first war experience was actually, for me as a child in 1967, and that was the 6-Day War between Israel and some of the Arab countries. And my second major war was, of course, in Lebanon when there was civil war. And then in 1982, Israel, and I was there. And we watched the Palestinian refugee camps being bombed. And after I left, Sabra Shatila massacre. So every time we talk about Palestinian rights, these are my memories. And I remember my friends in school who were Palestinian. I remember the Palestinians who actually came to us for sanctuary. Because in Lebanon, where else could they come? Sorry, the churches were open for them to actually be, sleep there and live there until the war was over. So it just seems like this is the story of humanity. And every time I speak about genocide and my grandparents' story in any of our churches that I visit, inevitably someone comes to me and says, "Oh, I belong to a people who was genocided." And I always say, "Is there anybody who wants to be genocide?" But I also understand that we live in a patriarchal world, and the powerful usually win. But that might be the human story, but it is not God's story. God has a different kind of story. And today we are being called to be part of that story. In the churches that I visit or our congregation, usually people say to me, you know, I don't understand these issues and I don't want to take sides. And I have begun now to say to them, look, I think God takes sides. Now, saying that does not feel very right because God does not discriminate. But taking sides is different than discrimination. God takes the side of the poor and the oppressed and the subjugated. This is not only in Christianity, it's in every religion I know. Because imagine a God who doesn't do that. Would you want to worship a God who only is on the side of the powerful and the rich? They're already made it in the world. God is exactly on the side of those who suffer. God is exactly on the side. So God is on the side of, and why does God take sides? Because the powerful and the rich always live at the expense of the ones they exploit. Because they cannot not do that. And so Israel lives with the exploitation of Palestine. The Ottoman Empire lived at the subjugation of its people. So I think today God calls us to partner with God in order to change the world. If God is on the side of the oppressed and the subjugated, then God is also on the side of those who work for peace and justice. So one of the things I keep growing into this. When people will talk about peacemaking, I would say, yes, let's make peace. This is what we need to do. Eventually it hit me that it really isn't peacemaking that we need. It is justice making that we need. So yesterday, as I Googled about degrees you can have in peacemaking, international and local, there were a whole bunch of lists that you can have degrees in peacemaking here, international. Only one of those had the word justice. And I thought, why don't we have justice making training instead of peace training? Because you see, I don't think you can make peace easily between those of unequal power. And when the power is unequal, you can do peace if you want, let like an alliance. It is the power that needs to be equal in order for peace to actually happen. It is justice that needs to happen in order for peace to be realized. Because without justice, it isn't. So anybody who comes to me now and says, I work for peace and I have this degree, I say, please work for justice. I don't want to hear about peace anymore. I want to hear about justice. Because peace is the result. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nyiri, for your meaningful and closing words. I really liked how you mentioned that once you become a genocidal people, it's in your bones. But with that, I believe it comes full circle with kind of what I was saying, with sharing stories and passing stories with family, but not only to family now with events like this, where we can share our stories through other people and communities. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I would like to open the floor for questions if anyone has any for our speakers or potential commentary.
Yeah, I'd like to donate to the Amazon Center. How do I do that?
Sam, I'll get that information to you and we'll send it out to everybody. Yeah, go on their website for starters, but and we have all your email addresses, so
Okay.
we'll communicate with you. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Is it easier?
Oh, no, I think I can protect just fine.
Okay.
I just want to say beforehand, thank you, Don, for inviting me to speak at the conference. I am very honored that I'm looking at my work here. At first, when I originally sent this to them, I was thinking that maybe it would gather up on protest signs somewhere. But that I got the greatest honor call to present it before all of you, and I would also like to thank all the speakers who spoke here, and you have all made wonderful, and I can't wait to do more work with all of you. I also forgot to give a shout out to the good representative here. Has also spoken at several Acton City Council meetings. I would highly recommend you come down to Acton City Council, hear more from Ken, from myself, and hopefully many more times.
Are you having any problems because of your group? Because I heard that some of the students in Western and Palestine groups are having problems with the college and Palestine.
Yep.
Are you having any problems with students as well?
So I recently graduated from state in 2023, spring of 2023, but, I was on the board for Students for Justice in Palestine, and we did have a lot of trouble with connecting with university administrators and also, working with university police enforcement as well. A lot of them, for example, it's hard to draw back on the title, but, we met with a university administrator who basically told us that after our banner was stolen and the individual who stole our banner blasted us on the internet and harassed us as well as other students on campus and online for several years. They said that it would set an unfair precedent if they spoke out about the targeted attack against our organization or against students facing harassment from this individual. There wasn't pushback because there wasn't anything, there wasn't any action that was initiated from administrators, and there wasn't any protection over their students or even over their faculty that was dealing with harassment from this individual. So I know Case right now is dealing with a lot of pushback on their Students for Justice in Palestine with their team. Gemma is currently actually in state, so maybe she can comment more on that.
Yeah, so the thing that we are really combating right now is the one-sidedness of administration. Right after October 7th, the CFU, at least, released an email to the entire school condemning Hamas's attacks on Israel, and then, talked about the support for the Jewish students and families who have been affected by this attack in Israel, which of course, resources for the Jewish students are so crucial, but they were very one-sided. And then they neglected the Palestinians completely. And not only does Case Western specifically is funding, I'm not sure which Israeli companies, but directly funding, genocide, yeah, someone said it. Yeah, it's just, they're not giving us, any type of attention. So we're working on direct action coalition to take that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
thank you.
Would you like to run it? I can that way.
Is there anyone else with any questions or comments? Yeah.
Francis Chiappa, the session. So the left, and I hope we're the forces of justice. We've never been very good at messaging, and we've also never been very good at narrative. So I heard tonight some things that really need to be out there in the public, in the media, in the plain dealer, as an op-ed piece, you should publish the story you told. You should publish it. You should find a way to get it published.
Okay, thank you.
It connects people there to the land and people here to that same land, and it's really powerful. The U.S. public does not know anything about Palestine. That's the goal. And narrative is the way to do it. We can all talk about justice, but this makes it real. So that's the narrative. The messaging is, we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, some of people, activists who've been with us and some, who were newer. I made a comment about messaging, we need to be very clear. And, Patrick over here said, well, we need a lot of messages, which is because we're talking about different audiences. And that certainly is true. But I thought that there's one message that I think speaks to the unknowing public that I wanted to propose to you. And the idea of messaging is to keep it simple. So in the corporate world, they talk about a very simple message like this slogan. But eBay's slogan in 5 words is connecting buyers and sellers. Right? It's just very concise. And our message might be support Palestine's right to exist.
Yo. I just, on behalf of the Palestinian, I'm a Palestinian, and I was part of the company in the 67. At any rate, I just want to extend my thanks to Don. The work that he does, nobody really sees what he has a lot of education and knowledge, because I don't think anybody can do what he does. He's got his hand in so many different things, helping out people and work for justice. He doesn't work for peace, but for justice he does, for sure. And I want everybody to know, this is my opinion. I would suggest that I should say, be careful when the election comes, coming this year. Be where we're voting for, please. It's like, don't go to the right and then go to the left because they're in bed together at the same time.
Yeah, what happens when there's no candidate in?
Well, then don't vote. I'm serious. If less people vote, the politicians might work to get our votes back. But if we keep voting to the worst of the two, then what do we got? We still got the devil.
Right.
But I think if we don't vote, if we don't have the right candidate to vote, or always vote to the third party, anybody on the third party, I don't care who it is,
Well, it's direct runoff voting, if we're not going to screen for direct runoff voting, then our system is demanding that we be not democratic. Because if we.
Well, we're not democratic, let's.
I know.
There's people that have their hands up, so let's go to them. No, you're good.
But yeah, just please be careful.
Got 2 people. I don't know who's first.
I volunteered for it.
Hi, Joseph Oliva. I'm the executive director of the Arab American Voter Project. I'm also Palestinian American. I just kind of heard what some of you guys were saying, and wanted to just let you guys know about our initiative called Allies Against Apartheid. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen stickers or have seen our yard signs. But our main message is that we want people to sign our pledge to demand that our rights are respected and that we are enacting just policy. And that we're also the ceasefire and de-escalation environments. In signing that pledge, we have a symbol or an emblem of our commitment to those demands for our representatives. So it does 2 things. It allows people in our community, whether they're Arab American, Palestinian American, or an ally, to feel safe, feel seen, feel heard. And on the back end, it allows to tell politicians that, people from all walks of life, from all religions, from all communities, from all economic backgrounds, have signed this pledge. We're demanding our representatives take this seriously, that this isn't a joke, and that our votes matter. We may not have the power, we may not have the money, but we should get everybody up in our communities, whether they are more pro-Palestinian and less pro-Palestinian. People in those communities know that we believe that this is important and this matters, and it'll impact our elections and it impacts our community. So as you leave today, just come up to me if you'd like a sticker and would like to pledge or get involved, and I'd love to talk to you.
Uh, Well, I remember back in 2016 when I was still supporting Senator Sanders for election, heard straight from him. I will never tell you how to vote, and if I'm telling you how to vote, don't listen to me. Well, and and with that in mind, I will say this, don't, you don't necessarily have to follow me and how I vote. And of course, there are some candidates available, if you to vote for an alternative to Biden and Trump. But also I've heard that there are some people who are wanting to, write free Palestine on the ballot itself. And if that is your problem, that is what you feel that this is that could be in your heart, I would highly encourage that you will do that. I would also like to sign up for your initiative, I forget the name. Oh, Grogo, yes, I would love to do that.
I want to speak to a couple of things. One, resonating your work about everybody coming from identified people really resonated. And I think it's kind of an elephant in the room that when we're talking about Gaza and Palestine and Israel to being it's supposed to be the homeland of the Jewish people who are identified as people and are constantly reminded of this. And so I really want to encourage anyone who knows of Jewish allies or who is Jewish in this room to write to your old congregations to have that conversation, because there is a lot of undoing in the mind of what Zionism teaches and what is shielded from a lot of Jewish people and congregations who are, of course, going to support Israel, but, to what end and to what level of blindness. And so, and also, it tells me a lot that the Israeli army is something that people are legally bound to in Israel. People are, all citizens are legally bound to serve in the army. And I don't know what exactly the repercussions are, but because of the way that Israel treats others, Palestinians, specifically, I can't imagine that being in those jails is a very good situation. So that's a predicament, like anyone who is in the Israeli army who doesn't want to be and finds themselves in that predicament. I would love to know of any organization that is helping to support that kind of action, because that is the most direct action that can possibly happen.
There is an organization called Breaking the Silence. Have you heard of that organization?
I have not.
They're an organization of former IDF that, like here in the United States, have heard all sorts of tales about the secret society of the police and the unspokenness of the work that they engage in and what they've heard honestly. The atrocities that I've witnessed, that I've experienced firsthand by the IDF, is nothing compared to what is done, certainly when we're not around leveraging our privilege and softening their blows. But soldiers are coming forward, and I could put you in touch with people in this organization. They're telling their stories. They're forming a whole new bond together by being able to step out and own the atrocities that they've been committing for generations now. So, there is some work being done in that area. Unfortunately, they are shunned and they have been, completely marginalized, in Israeli society. And I also could put you in touch with people that are, that refuse to serve. And there's a whole new generation of those that are refusing to serve. Some of the best activists that I've met, never served. And that immediately, as you were describing, puts them on the margins of society. Huge cost.
So we trade information, which is what we can all do,
Yeah.
trade information.
Can I make a quick comment? Oh, oh.
I'm gonna hop in front of the camera real quick, breaking the fourth wall, if you like, a little bit. I work at an organization called Cleveland Owns. Cleveland Owns, we help incubate businesses that are owned by the workers. And the way that this like fits into the common struggle is that it is a way to deconstruct capitalism and construct a different system. Capitalism is sort of like the economic model in which the few have power over the many, and has led to a lot of the oppression that we see today in our world, including the Palestinian crisis. We're doing a action, which I'm really excited about, next Tuesday, January 23rd. It's really appalling. We learned that, so there's a sustainability summit that's happening in Cleveland. It's the second time it's happening, environmental sustainability. A lot of the speakers are great, but they unveiled that the keynote speaker is going to be BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset management firm, which is great for the sustainability of those who want to oppress everybody else, but terrible for the sustainability of the planet and all of us. And so we are demonstrating against BlackRock by doing a walkout from the Sustainability Summit. It's free to register for the Sustainability Summit to join in the walkout. We're also doing a letter of a public letter against them being invited and like everything that they represent. They are, the world's largest asset management investment firm. They have $13 billion, invest a lot in so-called defense, military spending, including like to all the like weapons manufacturers that are funding the genocide in Gaza. So,
How do we get information about this?
yeah, that's a great email.
What we can do is send to me, I'm gonna distribute all the information
Yes,
to everyone on the email list.
Yeah.
That came tonight.
yes.
And I'll also include on that an event that's happening Saturday night, benefit for Palestine Children's Relief Fund. And that's gonna be in Parma, so I'll include that address and your information for that as well. And I wanna, actually, we have to close out because it's been a little longer than we started a little late, and thank you all for sticking it out. But thank you so much, everyone that participated and attended.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm the treasurer of Peace Action, so I owe you some money. Oh, just 1 second. Let me just close this all out.